Hello YouTube, I'm your Huckleberry, and this is the American Buffalo Knife and Tool Desert Elite Scavenger. What a ridiculous mouthful. But there we go. We're just going to call this bad boy the Scavenger for short. And this is one that I was really excited about because I'll just go ahead and kind of cut to the chase. It was $30.95 on Blade HQ, and you're getting D2 steel and steel bearings. And so I was, it's of course made in China, but there's a lot of good stuff coming out of China these days. And so I was excited to check this one out, because 30 bucks D2 steel bearings, it's worth at least a look, right? Okay, so but let's get in to some specifications. We are looking at a 7.5 inch overall length with a 3.5 inch blade length, a 0.12 inch right here blade thickness. It does have the swedge, which is thinner, but right here it is 0.12 inches thick. As I mentioned earlier, it does have D2 steel. How could you miss it with that big old D2 there? And it is a drop point blade with a swedge here. It does have a flat grind and a black stonewash finish. It is a stainless steel liner lock, as you can see there. And this is, it does have G10 scales. All right, let's get a weight for the Scavenger here, shall we? Bring out the AccuWeight scale and see what we get here. Come on, guy. There we go. All right, so here we go. Looking at about 3.7 ounces is where it looks like it's going to settle. So 3.7 ounces for a 3.5 inch blade. Not bad. Not bad. Pretty close to that ounce and inch line that I like to look for. And so that's not bad at all. Let's do some size comparisons. So let's see here. Here it is against the Kershaw Leak. As you can see, a good bit bigger than the Leak. The Leak, of course, has a 3-inch blade on it. This with a 3.5-inch blade on it. So a good bit larger than the Leak. Let's see here. Let's look at it against the Spyderco PM2. As you can see there, that's much more in line with the size that you're looking at there. It's going to be pretty much right in line with the PM2. So if you have a PM2, this is going to feel pretty similar in terms of length. It's going to be a little less girthy in the handle there, but in terms of overall length, the PM2 is going to be about spot on for that. And let's just look at it against another good budget option, the Civivi Paraxis. And the Paraxis is going to be, it's going to have quite a bit larger blade, in terms of blade height. As you can see there, this bad boy has a blade on it, let me tell you. That is a large blade, and it's going to be a little bit longer. The Paraxis has about a 3 3/4 inch blade. This has a 3.5 inch blade, so it's got a little bit more blade there. But in terms of overall length, not too far off. And then let's look at it against something that, I'm going to compare it to a little bit later. The large honey badger. The large honey badger knife. And so again, yeah, that's about spot on in terms of overall length. Again, the honey badger is going to be a little girthier, going to have a little bit higher, a little bit taller blade, a little bit girthier in the handle here. But in terms of overall length, about spot on. Okay, and so let's get into some pros and cons of the Scavenger here. As I've mentioned a couple of times now, it does have the D2 steel, which is good. It does ride on bearings, which is good. It is a stainless steel liner lock, and those stainless steel liners are heavily, you can't really tell because it's black in there, and it's hard for me to show that off. But the liners in there are heavily milled. And so that really helps with the weight reduction. That's why you get the 3.7 ounces of weight, which is great. I like that a lot. It does have good ergos. It does have good ergonomics. The clip's not any kind of hot spot. And so it fits well in my extra large hand. You can see there in kind of a hammer grip and in kind of your classic saber grip. It is a full 4-finger grip for me with my extra large hands. And so it fits well. It feels good. Here's the back side of it. There's that clip. So it has pretty good ergos. It had a pretty good edge out of the box, I must say. Which is, you know, with a $30 knife can be hit or miss sometimes if the edge is going to be good or not. But this edge was, and if you can see right there, I did put a little bit of a chip in there. I used this thing pretty good. And so, because I wanted to really put it through its paces. And you can see there, I put a little bit of a chip in the edge. It was my fault. Trust me, it wasn't a fault of the knife. It was abuse in that case. But anyway, I like the way that it looks. Its overall look, you know, it's got a pretty good, you know, it's nothing extravagant like, say, something I'll be reviewing a little bit later, like the HEA Designs Equilibrium V2 version 2. You know, it's not going to be that, but this to me is a good looking knife overall. This to me just looks like a work knife. Like this is just a knife that you're going to take to work. It's going to get the work done, and it's just going to work. And so I really like that. I like the overall look of it. It's an attractive drop point blade. I like the swedge in the top there. The overall looks and presentation of the knife are good. It does have a pretty good action. It has a pretty good action on those bearings, as you would expect. It does, well, if I can do it right on camera, it does drop shut pretty well. It does have I mean, I'm saying pretty good action. For a $30 knife, it has a good action. It has a good action for a $30 knife. I took it apart and disassembled it for a reason that I'll tell you why in just a second. But it disassembled pretty easily. Took apart pretty easily, went back together pretty easily. So that's always good, easy to maintain. I do like the way the texture feels in hand. It's grippy without, you know, being overly aggressive in hand. So I really do appreciate that. I really do like that. And so overall, there's quite a few positive things here for again, a $30 knife with D2 steel and steel bearings. But of course, there are some drawbacks. And so let's talk about those a little bit. The fit and finish on this guy. These edges are all a little bit sharp. All these edges along the handle here, along the scales, are a little bit sharp. It does fit together. The scales do fit together with the stainless steel liners pretty well. As you can see here, it all matches up and meets up pretty well. But the edges of the G10 here are sharp. They're a little bit sharper than I want them to be. Those definitely need to be rounded off a bit more. You can feel it a little bit. It's not like it hurts your hand, but you can definitely feel it in hand. And so, you know, that's just something. The fit and finish is just not the best. It's not terrible. Again, we're talking about, we always have to keep in mind, you'll hear me say this a lot, this is a $30 knife. And so, but the fit and finish could be better, that's for sure. The detent on it. I mean, while the action's okay, and detent's usually a part of that, the detent on it is a little weak. Let me see if I can show you here. Yeah, see, there is no thumb studs, there is no hole or anything in the blade there, so I should not be able to open it using my thumb like that. But I can, and that's because the detent is a little weak. And, you know, I can shake it around pretty good, and it's not going to come out. I can make it come out if I probably can't do it on camera, but let me see if I, oh yeah, see, I can, if I do it hard enough and give it that whipping action, I can get the blade to come out. And so the detent is not the greatest. And it's not like this is, you know, just a huge chunk of metal that you can do that, you know, that makes it easier to do that. The detent's just a little bit weak. Like I said, the action like this is still, I mean, it's still pretty good, but the detent needs some work. It's a little bit weak on the detent. I don't like this logo right here on the blade. I don't know. It's just kind of right in the big middle of the blade. I probably wouldn't mind it if it were kind of like up here. You know, kind of out of the way, but it's just like right in the big middle of the blade. And it's just, I don't know. I just don't like it. It's like distracting or something. And I don't like it. You know, it would, like I said, it'd probably be fine if it were right, you know, kind of up here, kind of out of the way. But the fact that it's like smack dab in the middle of that blade there, just, I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that the blade and hardware have different finishes. So, you know, this is like a black stone wash, which is fine, you know, with a D2 knife, which is, you know, a little susceptible to corrosion if you don't take care of it. But, you know, D2 requires a little more maintenance than your, you know, S30V or something like that. But I don't like that this is a black stone wash and this is just black. Like a black, you know, I doubt it's, you know, DLC or anything. We'll just call it black paint because I'm not sure what it is. It doesn't specify. But I don't like that this is just like a straight black and this is a black stone wash. It just, you know, it takes away a little bit from the knife overall, in my opinion. You know, that's an aesthetic thing. Functionally, it's no big deal. But aesthetically, I just don't, you know, I wish the liners and the hardware were the same stone wash. That would be my preference. But even if this were just a black blade instead of a black stone wash blade, that would be okay too. I'd prefer it all be black stone wash, but at least I just want the blade and the hardware to match up. It did have, the reason that I disassembled this knife, you know, I don't mind disassembling my knives. I like to disassemble them and maintain them. It's not a problem to me. I enjoy doing that. But, you know, I try not to disassemble a knife straight out of the box if it doesn't need it for some reason. This did need it for a reason because there was just a heavy grease all in the pivot and all along the liners. I mean, it was greased up out of the box, which is something that you'll see some with a D2, again, with a D2 blade, although it has this coating, so it really shouldn't need that too much, but it was heavily greased up. And so I went ahead, took it apart, cleaned it up, and just added a little knife pivot lube to the bearings, you know, the only place that really needs to be lubed up when it's got, you know, a coating on the steel. And did that, but it was heavily greased up, and I don't like that when it's coming straight out of the box that way. There is no jimping on the top here, which this knife, because this, I mean, a $30 knife like this is probably going to be a beater knife for most people. And so on beater knives especially, I do like some jimping because, I mean, you're probably going to be hard using, using this hard for hard use work. And so a little jimping up on the scales here, on the liners, on the blades, something would be nice. And you know, I would prefer there to be a little bit jimping there. Also, while disassembling it, it does have, I noticed it does have weird Torx bit sizes. These were T7 and this was T9, which is, you know, it's not a big deal, but it is a little bit odd. You know, usually this would be like T6 and T8, you know, you go with the even numbers, you know, or it would all be T6 or all be T8, you know, something like that. But this was T7 and this was T9. That's what I had to use in order to get this guy apart. So that was strange. I don't know. It's just unusual. So that was a little bit weird. The texturing, while it does feel good in hand, and I like it in hand, right here under the pocket clip, if you're putting this in and out of your pocket too much, that's definitely gonna, because you can hear it the way it scrapes with my fingernail. That's definitely gonna wear on the pocket quite a bit. And so it would have been nice if, you know, Spyderco is really good about putting, when they have like their FRN handles, their FRN scales, they're really good about putting a smooth surface right here where the pocket clip and the scale kind of meet in order to reduce the wear on the pocket. And so I always appreciate that about the Spydercos. This could have, if you just left that untextured right there, that would have been nice. So that it doesn't tear up the pocket clip so much going in and out, in and out. If you're someone who takes your knife out, several times a day, it would be nice to have a little bit of that there. This is right hand carry only. So the pocket clip is for right hand, tip up only. Tip up I'm fine with. Tip up is the way I prefer to carry my knives. I think it's the way that most knife guys prefer to carry their knives, is tip up. But it is only right hand and not left hand. And I don't think it's that much harder just to, drill and tap a couple holes here, make the pocket clip reversible. I mean, heck, cold steel will, usually throw in a second pocket clip for left-hand carry. So I don't think, if it wouldn't have added any cost to make this left-hand carry as well. And so those are kind of the negatives there. The biggest negative, I think, are the two things, are the fit and finish with these G10 scales being pretty sharp around the edges here, and the weak detent, because you shouldn't be able to do that. The lockup is pretty good. There is no lock stick, but it does have slight side-to-side play, and I played with it, and I couldn't really get it to where it was going to be centered and have no blade play. So it's just a little side to side there, so that doesn't bother me that much. And so that's kind of the last point there. So overall, for $30, I think, even with its drawbacks, I think this is a good knife. Because like I said, you're getting D2 and steel bearings for $30. You're getting a good size at 3.5-inch blade. Is the fit and finish the best? No. But, I mean, if you look at other $30 options, like the CRKT M16 here, which I've done a review on as well. If you look at that compared to this, okay, so you're getting 8 CR, 13 MOV, D2 steel is going to be better. You're getting, with the CRKT, you're getting one, washer there, and then one Teflon, which is, that's not great. You're getting bearings here. And so if it comes down to these two for the same price, and the M16 is actually a little bit more. This goes for about $35, I believe. $5 more, but still. It goes for about $35 brand new in most cases. Between these two, I would pick this. I would definitely pick the Scavenger over the CRKT. Is the fit and finish on the CRKT a little bit better? Yes. Yes, it is. But like I said, the D2 steel and the bearings make this a winner to me over this. If you're looking at something, again, in the $30 range. So, like I said, I was going to bring back the Honey Badger here. Now, this is a lot closer because you are still getting steel bearings with this, but the steel is not as good. It's the 8CR13 MOV steel instead of the as it says right there, 8CR13 MOV steel over the D2 steel. And so it's kind of a trade back there, but I will say that the fit and finish on the Honey Badger is better than the Scavenger. So between these two, ooh, that's a hard pick. That's a really hard pick. Between these two, oh man, I'm sorry, I know silence is not good for the video. I think I'd pick the Honey Badger. I would pick the Honey Badger over the Scavenger. And the Honey Badger was, you can find these between $30 and $35 as well. And so I think I would ultimately go with the Honey Badger over the Scavenger, though it's really close. It's really close. You're kind of trading the D2 steel for the fit and finish of this because they both have bearings, so that's a wash. I think the fit and finish of the Honey Badger is a little bit better, and I think I would trade the D2 for the fit and finish and bearings of the Honey Badger. So that's just kind of a little comparison between budget knives there and kind of in the same range. And so this is a good budget option. It is. If you're because you're getting a good steel in D2, you're getting the steel bearings, And so, you know, those two things for $30 is good. It's good. And overall, it's a good knife. Like I said, I used this knife pretty darn hard. And it held up well. The edge held up well, except for right there where I hit some ceramic tile and it chipped on me like just about any blade steel will. So overall, I would recommend it. I would recommend check one out for $30. What do you have to lose? And you might even get one with a better fit and finish. I don't know about the consistency of ABKT yet, as this is my first one. So maybe you get one with even a little bit better finish. You know, which wouldn't be the, I don't know. You want consistency in manufacturing, but anyway, this is a good knife. Check one out for 30 bucks. You don't have much to lose. I think you'll get a pretty good knife for $30. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you hated this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. It's okay. But whether you loved it or hated it, go ahead and comment down below why you hated it or why you loved it, or if you want to check one out, or if you have one and you have a different experience. If you have a Scavenger and have a different experience than I did, please let me know about that down below in the comments, because I love to hear that. I love talking with you guys and interacting, and I read all those comments and I comment back to you so we can get a conversation going. I enjoy doing that. And so, and whatever you do, go ahead and hit that subscribe and that little notification bell so that you will be notified every time I post a new video. I try to post a couple videos a week for you guys about different knives, different gear, and I have a lot of different knives coming up, so I'm sure we'll come across something that you like. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.